joint bank accounts in relationships. Now, this one we started last week, and I'm sure a lot of people had comments, they had their own reasons, they had positions about this topic. You get to talk to us today. Tweet at us at the Bumper Breakfast on Twitter. Send us messages on Facebook. We have a page, Bumper Breakfast. You can also post right underneath this video on Facebook and engage us on the conversation. It's actually streaming live at MITV NG, as MITV Nigeria on Facebook. So you get to stream and get there and put your comments right underneath so we can take your messages. But ultimately, to contribute live, send us a text message at 006-473-8133 or simply send a WhatsApp message to the same number 006-473-8133. And remember, just 5 minutes before we round up, we'll take some calls. What's your question? You know, last week when we were saying, must we have bank account, must we have a joint bank account? People were saying, okay, so you work here in bank, you know? The continuation of last week.
Yeah, I think I'll start by talking about the benefits of joint account, which I started
last week. I think you had 3 last week. Let's run through quickly.
We'll just run through quickly the benefits of having a joint account. Number one, I said, sharing an account allows your spouse to have access to money at any point in time. Both parties can have access to money at their account. Why? Because they have a joint account. You can see what you have. Number two, if your bank provides it, each of you will have online access
to the same
account, so you can pay for utilities. I don't have to be the one paying. You can just go online and pay for utilities.
It could be any of us.
Shared financial tasks and do those things. Number three, some legal affairs are streamlined with joint account. You see, in a case whereby your spouse has passed on, you don't need the will to spend money.
You already have access to the account.
Yes. You just continue spending. You don't need to wait for the long arm of the law to give you legal rights to the money, because it takes time to access the money of your loved ones. But when it comes, you can just hit it like that. And number four, which is the last benefit of having a joint account, is that there is smaller chances of encountering financial surprises. In those times where you have financial recklessness, you are mentally guided because you know Madam is going to see this. Just like I did right now. Sent you 1 million. If I was having a joint account, I can't send you 1 million.
You did not send me 1 million. I did not get the
dollar. You will get the dollar. It's better you give me the glory now, because I can stop that transaction.
You can still stop a transaction that you were claiming to have done.
That's why I'm a father figure in the society.
What?
And you know,
what did you become Mr. Macaroni?
These are things we do to help the society.
Please, how much do you send me? 1 million kobo?
1 million kwacha. That's what we spend in Zambia.
That's what we spend in Zambia. Really? Are we in Zambia? Do I look like I love Zambia?
Let me tell you, our naira has been devalued. So to enhance your financial status, I take you to another currency. Somebody once said,
so when you don't have a bank account in that area,
someone once said, if you broke in Nigeria, you can take what you have and go to Uganda. Or Tanzania.
You give me Lobia.
In Uganda, you can actually carry all you have with a river. That much.
Wow.
So let's do that.
Okay. Please go on.
No, that's all on the benefits of having a joint account. But what are the disadvantages, or what are the reasons for having separate accounts? Why should we have separate accounts? Number one,
you think it's beneficial to also have
benefits of having separate bank accounts. Number one, having constantly to explain yourself is getting old. You got the example I was talking about last week, whereby you walk into a salon and then you cut your hair and they tell you it's 5,000 and you swap. And Madam is at home like, my husband cut his hair for 5,000.
That's a lie. It must be a unisex salon.
He must have done it for a reason. There's going to be problem. It will take God.
But before you go on, we're discussing, not yet the begging syndrome, we're discussing hard conversations, joint account in relationship, joint bank account in relationships. That's where the conversation is right now. So my director can correct at that. Yes, you were saying.
So number two, so we're done with the first, which
Yeah.
is having to explain yourself at every point in time. Number two, having separate bank accounts prove that you trust each other. You know, 40 to 50 years ago, having joint account was in vogue. Everyone wants to come together. But right now, to show you trust your partner, the best gift you can give your partner is financial independence. And I'm not saying you cannot do things together, but you can have a bank account whereby you can contribute funds and say, okay, let's put this money together for this purpose. We're putting this money together for a building. Or we're putting this money together for our holiday. Or we're putting this money together for the house rent. We can do that. But saying we're having just one source and we pull all our funds, it all comes to one place and we have just one joint account, it's not really helpful. The trust is not there. If you trust the person, you allow her to run her account while you run your account.
Yeah, but really, what does trust have to do with I earn money and then I have to talk to you about what to spend my money?
You see, that's why I said it's a traditional mentality.
Okay.
Traditionalists would say joint account is what promotes unity in the home. That's what they say.
Yes.
But you see, when you allow the woman to run her account, you trust her. When you allow the man hand his account, you trust him. You know he's not reckless. You know, there are people when money enters their hand, everything speaks to them. They hear that language, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. So they buy the things they don't need to impress the people they don't need. Get that?
You just have a feeling that people are watching me. People would like to see me with this.
Let me kill them.
Let me kill them.
They will
Let me.
And then they buy those things, and at the end of the day, it's useless. You know, I asked somebody some time ago, I said, have you ever gone out and then get back home? And a few days later, call the people in the place you went and ask them, what was I doing?
Don't remember.
They won't remember.
Because it really didn't matter.
The problem in this country is too much for someone to be thinking about what you want
When you came to the house,
when you came to their house or when you came to their office.
they would even remember what you said, not what you did.
That's true.
Especially if there was an issue.
Very true. So
It is only when the person is vain and the person is jobless that the person will remember immediately exactly. Because, you know, most times, you
what the
find it
person is
difficult.
lost to after you is attracted.
There's a possibility. But you know, even as an individual, you find it difficult to remember what you were. Usually you have to consult pictures or clothing. That's why we take pictures in the first place. So imagine that you don't have that luxury of going back to think about it. And then you know, kill yourself over it and you expect that the people around you, the only statement you make is at that moment. Once you leave the place, maybe for the rest of the day we talk about it. The next morning, majority of the people come back.
True. Number three, joint account makes breakup complicated. Just imagine a scenario whereby a couple decides to part ways. The fund in the joint account will be very messy to share. It's gonna be
So now be, my salary is more than yours. Oh, you spend more money than I.
I saved more.
I saved
put
more.
When was the last time your money came in? You that have not been collecting salary, you know, it's gonna be a very big issue. Number four, financial argument becomes tough in the family when you have joint accounts. You see? So from time to time, you know, I said something last week. I said I'm going to tell us 7 major problem areas in relationships, in families. 7 major. Number 1 is money, finance. Finance is a big problem. The others, I'll flog on that later. But you see, it's important to understand that if you can handle financial problems in your family, you've handled a large percentage of the problems that should have arisen from that. Number 4, or number 5 right now, the best gift you can give your partner is financial independence. So it's always right to allow your partner earn significantly and spend as at when due. You know, it would really not make sense for your partner to need something and wait
For your approval.
aimlessly for your approval before they get that thing. As
That one
minute
thing.
as it will be. because you have a joint account. You see what I'm talking about? So it's really important we get to a point where we understand that it's no more the norm. It was a trending thing in the past where parents were proud to say, yes, this is what we have.
We control our
finances, our resources. But right now, it's about what we can do as a family. So we can have a family account. You can have an account for your children. The wife still has her account, the husband still has his account. And at the end of the day, the vision of the family keeps moving from one level to another. And I think that's a big plus in family. Yes, it is. And you see, very importantly, Tony said, one thing we need to understand is, in this present age and time, putting finances together raises eyebrows. The minute a man comes into your life and says, can we have joint account? And the woman is financially stable, she begins to suspect you. That's why
I don't think it's an anomaly for a man to suggest it. It should have been a better thing to build a bond over a long period of time, and then both of you are able to say to yourselves,
let's do this.
How do you think we can move forward? Make sure that you've solidified your relationship. You've possibly decided to be with each other for life. And then, I even put it to you and say, get a lawyer involved. But adventure we separate, we go our separate ways. This is how we share. It's basically like signing a prenuptial. This is how we share. So certain things will not cause trouble if you eventually decide to separate, because you already had an agreement from the very beginning talking about how you were going to share. But eventually you have nothing. You see, poor people don't fight over money. Extremely poor people don't even have to fight over. For rich people, or comfortable, perceived comfortable people, fight over little money. Rarely would you see financially buoyant, independent man concerned about what his wife earns and how she spends.
Very true. Very true.
He possibly will just be giving financial advice to you, especially when she is.
True.
How's business? How are you doing? Alright, have you invested this money? I came across one investment, I've done some, it becomes, you operate, you function, you relate at the same level.
And let me say this here, if your spouse, if your partner has lost his job, okay, he has his account, you have your account, and then he lost his job or she lost her job, it's time for you to support that person. You see, there's nothing wrong with supporting the person, but it's important you understand that just setting up a family and thinking that having a joint account is one of the prerequisites or requirements for families, it's not true. In the UK, British people have made a decision that if the marriage is not up to 5 to 6 years, they will not have a joint account. So one of the questions we ask is, how old is this marriage? How old is this relationship before they can commit merging form? Sometimes it brings unity, but at other times it deadens trust, especially when your spouse is financially reckless. There are some men who just get into the beer parlor and they order for everybody. I will pay. And they have no idea how much a bottle of alcohol costs in that place.
That's another relative question. You buy a bottle of Coke in a restaurant, costs 1,000 naira. You step outside the restaurant and buy from the bottle down the street and it costs you
50 naira. That's what a rude boy said in his argument. Who would they blow you? You will blow tiger. People are seeing you, you are flossing, you're flushing, you're showing flashy things, but at the end of the day, when they bring the bill, you'll be so shocked.
You can join the conversation this morning. Which side do you swing? Are bank accounts good for relationships, or are they worse? Do you think they have negative impact, or how have you coped so far? The number to call is 08064738133. Let's talk about it. What exactly do you think? 08064738133. Send your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, and of course, we get to pick one or two calls.
So we did a statistic and we asked the male and the female. We asked the women, the average woman, would you like to have a joint account? It will shock you. 78% of women said we want to have a joint account. And you know the kind of women I'm talking about?
I understand.
But 32% of men said no, we won't have it. You see what I'm talking about? So at the end of the day, you can understand where the women are coming from, some of them. But when you have a financial independent mentality, you will really not mind. You just want to be your own. You want to keep your own.
And you say you really don't mind, or you really mind.
You really not mind joining. You get my point, right?
Yeah.
So you mind just being on your own, just being private, so that you can do what you need to do. You know, it's important we understand this. Women who are well groomed, there are things the family needs that they won't wait for. They just do those things. Why? Because they are financially independent.
And it really doesn't matter. Or you see, there is another danger to that. When you do that, you start venture you are married to someone who does not also bother.
Nonchalant. He doesn't appreciate. He doesn't observe.
You are on your own. You spend all the money, and you just discover that you've just been the one spending. That's why people talk about those things.
True.
And that's why, there's a lady who said, whenever she wants to buy anything, she waits for the husband. And I had really serious issues with that. I'm like, duh, means you're going to be at a standstill for a really long time. What if it's out of town? I said, wait.
Is she working?
She's working.
This is 2021.
And I had to ask her, are you okay? She said, yes, she's okay.
Tell me something.
But I should discover that when she was spending, everything happened. And so she decided that, you know what? Correct this guy, I'm not going to spend anyway. So, started saving. Every time we ask for money, she said she doesn't have. Sometimes she would do the thing, pretend as if it's not done.
That's a family problem.
That's a family problem.
And there are some women also, they will do everything in the house, but they collect the money from the man to the latter.
Yeah, they like to
I bought this, we need this. They bought it all. Won't you buy Christmas clothes for the children? They bought the Christmas clothes since October.
Especially when it was cheaper.
I'm telling you, some women are very industrious. I don't want to say something else.
It's business.
They buy
it's business. They
so
do
they
business
collect
with
the money
so
from
they do business.
They
with
buy
the
bag of rice in their boots. They don't bring it in. When the man drops the money, they bring the rice there. You know those
so
kind
they buy
of
it for
women?
way cheaper
I'm telling
than you can think. All right, there are so many sides to this story, but of course, like I said, the number is right there on the screen, 08064738133. To join the conversation today, call or SMS or WhatsApp the number you have there, 08064738133. Let me shock you with a story. There's a young lady that I know. The father is relatively rich. Built houses in highbrow areas in Lagos, and all the kids have one each. He's alive, but they all call them rent. So once you are grown, you begin to learn. When this girl was about to get married, she had exposed her husband to the fact that she is from a rich family. Did I know her? So she drives a Jeep. The father bought the Jeep for her. And the young man was so excited. When they were going to rent a house, the guy said he should not rent, So she was like, no, at tenants. The house is empty. She said, at tenants. Just paid rent. Do you understand? And it's managed by father's wife. Not them. He just get details. They manage by themselves. So they had to go rent a house. And what's girl? Kind of after you have a self-control together. When you have the two detached duplexes and then you go to rent a self-control, it really doesn't make sense. But then she went. And then she went after. The guy said, the guy is too big. She went back to her father. That's the guy. Went to a bank account. Bought a smaller car. Still an SUV, but a smaller car. Started driving it. And she said, she went to complain to daddy. Daddy gave me a new car. And daddy took his car back. So the guy felt, anytime he comments about something, she does it. So this time around, she took his cane. She paid. Second time, the guy did not pay. She paid. So after a while, she just made up her money. So anything that has to do with spending in the house, as mother lives, there's two sisters live with them. Anything that has to do with spending in the house, she wasn't going to spend money. He didn't get the house only he does it. You get that back.
Yeah.
So she's going out in the morning, she goes to the place very close to my house, and she buys food, puts in her son's food bowl, and he takes to school. She buys bread, the boy takes bread and tea in the morning. She buys his food from the place and he takes to school. Brings him from school, he puts at the place and then they come back.
You know, the foundation of that relationship is already failed. Because at the end of the day, you see, people get married for the first.
For so many different. Apparently, this young man might have gotten married simply because he wanted. It was a matter of greener pasture. If we can put the number, can we put the number on the screen there so that people get to take the number down?
So from the statistic we took, Thomas, men put up the idea of combining finances because their partner is bad. You must know the person you're getting married. You see, 18% of people, when they were asked about joint account, they felt that's too much commitment. You're committing so much and too much into that relationship, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you saw the video that was making around on social media of the young lady who practically, literally gave all she had to the guy, and he was using her credit card to take other girls out. Took a girl shopping, and the original wife came and met him and said, "Take this, what you do with my money." She took his trouser, collected what he bought for the girl, took his clothes to the girls, like he went naked in the streets of London. Stripped him naked, took everything that belonged to her, and she
drove off. Remember that song that Beyonce sang? I can have another year in a minute. You must know.
Yeah, that song tells
the whole story.
And you see, that's why it's important. The mentality we have into relationships matter a lot. If you think
why
the person
would you go into a relationship in the first place feeling like this person is
here to alleviate your problem, is your God,
is not, you are not, are we doing palliative in relationship?
I think that's what we said on Secret Diary on Instagram, that marriage is not your escape of poverty. Marriage, that you are married is not means that there must be divine provision from this man.
From the man.
Because by the time you put, and it works vice versa.
Sure.
By the time
in recent times, it's even worse. It's really
by the time you
worse.
put all your effort, all your demands, your family problems on the man, then there's going to be, and this is the reason why most ladies are not married. They meet a guy, they put all the problems.
And don't forget we're talking about pregnant.
We'll get
there.
But joint account, you see, some are so untrustworthy.
Imagine that you have a joint account and your wife buys a shoji of every wedding that comes and every ceremony. She just buys it.
I will inspire the car. I will make it. I'll call the bank and tell them I lost my car. They will block it. Straight. Because you see that we have
joint account.
Now hear this, that we have a joint account does not mean you should buy what you want. Let's communicate about it. And that's what I said when I was preparing here. You need to have financial conversations. You see,
even
have
your relationship,
detailed financial discussions. And that's what I'm emphasizing here with your spouse on a frequent basis to determine what makes sense. Because what makes sense to you may not make sense to me. But when we come together and put two heads together, you see, two heads are better than one, especially when you have two good heads, not two coconut heads.
Okay. You said that, I didn't say it. Anyway, we bring in our next guest. Somi Uranta is here with us in the studio this morning. And of course, it's Friday motivation. Just before we go into the begging story, that begging story, it's a matter that we must be for matter. Don't worry, we will definitely talk about it. We'll be back.